Yes, my friends, it does work, and welcome to the video. Today we are putting a diminished arpeggio into a 12-bar blues. Let's start by looking at what a diminished arpeggio actually is. It's just 4 notes, all spaced equal distances apart. So the distance between all of the notes is a minor third, or 3 semitones, or 3 frets. Okay, so if we're going to start a diminished on, let's say we'll start on an E flat. We've got E flat, G flat, A, and C. Now, lots of metal players will just run up and down that arpeggio and think nothing more of it than that. However, we're going to use this in a blues. Now, the classic place to use a diminished in a blues is over chord 4. It just sounds really, really strong there. And the diminished you use is a diminished arpeggio that's, well, most of the notes are actually in the chord anyway. If we look at a D7 chord, we've got a D, we've got an F sharp or a G flat, an A, and a C. So those 3 of those notes are in that diminished arpeggio that we just talked about. The only note that's not is the E flat. There. Well, our D's there, we need to change 1 note. So, camera shot. Our D7 arpeggio is D, and our diminished arpeggio is the same thing, but instead of starting there, we start there. And obviously we can carry it on down the neck, and we can carry it on up the neck. Essentially what you're doing is you're playing a diminished arpeggio a semitone above the root of your chord. But here's the thing. Instead of just thinking of that diminished arpeggio and rattling up and down it, what I want you to do is to think of the dominant 7th arpeggio that you should know anyway. And all we're going to do is we're going to change 1 note. So we've got the D7 arpeggio, and instead of playing the D, we're going to play the flat 9, which is the E flat. So effectively you're just sharpening the root, but you're still thinking of all the other notes that are still in the arpeggio. And the trick to playing this and making it sound good is to getting in and out of it really slick. If you're still thinking of that D7 arpeggio, but just shifting 1 note, you're not making a huge paradigm shift, and you're thinking from there to the diminished headspace and then back again. You're just thinking of that D7 with a little tweak to it, and that's it. That's all you've got to think about. Okay, so it makes that change back to the D7, into the D7, from the D7, or what's really strong is when you go back to the A7, back to chord 1, because most of the notes in that diminished arpeggio are a semitone below the A7 chord. Look, there's an A7 chord, and our diminished is there. In fact, the diminished and the A7 arpeggio have got that A in common. The rest of the notes are just a semitone below. So listen, for instance, if I go, and I'll do this really slowly, diminished, slide up 1 note, I've got a note in my A7 chord. Go to the next one, slide up 1 note, and back into the A7 chord, I've got a G there. Do it again. Well, I don't have to do anything next, I've got an A. And the last one, C, slide it up with the C sharp, and I'm back inside of my A chord. Okay, so it's really strong. Think about those things, have a go, put them into your playing. It works great on chord 4. It also works really well on the last chord in your 12 bar, on the E7. But remember, you shift that root up a semitone and you work it that way. Now, if you've got something from this, please leave a comment below, but also look below, because there's a link to a few things there that you can get your hands on. There's a chapter from my big brown guitar book. It's the blues chapter, and it's got lots and lots of different devices and things like this and ways of handling all the chords in a 12 bar. That's all in that book, so there's a link to that. There's also some hilarious stuff. There's a cup, there's a mug with the blues scale on it. There's there's lots of blues merchandise that you can link to. There's a t-shirt, and there's all sorts. Have a look, because that really helps sponsor the channel and keep us going. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment, all those things. It really helps, it makes my day. Cheers, man.